This is Chris Wondolowski for the San Jose Earthquakes. You're watching Bay Area Sports Wrap.
Hey, thank you for joining us for tonight's post-game press conference after tonight's 2-1 win over Austin FC in the season finale. We're joined by Earthquakes head coach Bruce Arena. We'll start first with some questions live here. Jeff Carlisle, ESPN.
Bruce, obviously a great win, but a tough way to go out in terms of the playoffs. What do you chalk that disappointment up to? And also talk about Niko Tsakiris' performance tonight.
Well, we blew too many games this year, wasted too many points, and we put ourselves in a position that made it difficult. However, on the year, from 2024, we basically doubled wins. We had 6 last year, 11 this year. We had 21 points last year, 41 this year. We scored 60 goals, 41 last year. We conceded 63, 78. So that's progress, but we made progress. That's all I can say. So that part's good, but I could easily count to half a dozen games where we should have walked off with more points. So we put ourselves in this position. The officiating in some of the other games tonight were a little bit odd. It made a difference in the outcomes. Tonight was kind of like my last game with the U.S. team when we lost to Trinidad, and they blew another game where they allowed a goal that wasn't over the line and made all the difference. And of course, no one has ever said anything about it. But those things happen, But we put ourselves in this position, so we can't, we got to accept it. In all honesty, Niko did a real good job. I was on the side. I was saying Niko's got to take this free kick, And I saw the free kick he hit in the U20 tournament. Give him credit; it's his first goal of his career. So good for Niko, and hopefully he can be a guy competing to be a full-time player next year. So that's encouraging. And I think, I think the guys picked it up tonight. They played a little bit better. We're trying to build the organization into a winning organization. We have a way to go. We've improved facilities here. We have a new training field now we just completed. We have a dining hall for the team. We have a team meeting room now. So we're making progress. We're trying to catch up with everyone in the league. So we've made progress this year. Is it disappointing not making a playoff? Sure. But, in reality, we just weren't good enough or consistent enough throughout the year.
Next question, go to Robert Jones.
Definitely a lot of progress, and the numbers, you're right, speak for themselves. Where are the additional places you see that substantial progress being made ahead of next season, going into next year, to make this team?
Well, like anything else, you improve the roster. We're not gonna have the spend that a lot of other teams have in the league. I understand that. We have potentially new ownership as well, but we just got to improve the roster and with the resources we have. We're not positioned to win the MLS Cup at the moment, but we can get better. So we got to improve the roster as a starting point.
Can you elaborate on that? I know you have decisions now to make in terms of roster decisions. Are there guys that you've seen this year that you know you can
The season just ended, maybe a half an hour ago. I'm not making my roster decisions yet, even though I'll be honest, I have a pretty good feel for what we need to do. But we'll wait a little bit. There's no rush on that. We have to make roster decisions by the end of November. I don't know what the exact date is, but we'll do that, and then we'll try to improve our team with the reentry, the reentry drafts and free agency, and then obviously we're working, looking at players abroad as well. So we've been doing that, over the recent months. So we'll add to the roster. The salary cap is always challenging, so we got to deal with that. I'm going to call into Miami and figure out how they do it.
All right, next question. Go ahead, Brian.
Looking at the overall of the team, and I know you have some decisions to make, but has there been any or a couple of players on this roster that you're really excited to have the chance to have back next year?
Well, we're going to have a lot of them back next year, but we had guys that were like this. They were yo-yos at times, up and down. We got to level them out. If we can be more consistent, we have a lot of good players here. We just got to find the consistency, and maybe that's a fault of the coaching. We have to do a better job there. And, we can improve the roster, and we'll do that. We had a number of guys that had good years. I don't want to, name any names right now. You guys can probably figure it out. Oddly enough, we probably had two of the highest goal-scoring tandems in the league, in Martinez and Arango. Although I imagine if the LAFC guys were together the whole year, they'd probably score 60 goals combined. But we scored goals, but defensively we were not good. So that's the easiest way to say things. We've got to improve ourselves defensively, and that just doesn't mean defenders and goalkeepers. It's our entire team and the mentality. We don't have the right makeup right now to consistently defend well as a team. So we got to get better at that. That's the difference, say, for a team like Austin. Austin doesn't score goals, but they don't concede goals. Austin scored 36 goals on the year. We scored 60, and we're going home, and they're in sixth place. So you figure that out, and we got to get better defensively.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Bruce, I was hoping maybe you could reflect on this first full year back on the sideline. You kind of called out coaching needed to improve on a few games. What did you learn this year? What are you looking forward to working on this off season? And
well, I think the season was good in helping us understand our players, know what we need to do next year. I came in when I came in January, in all honesty, we didn't know our team. It took us a large part of the year to sort some of that out. I didn't know the organization. I didn't know San Jose and all those things, and just the culture of the sport here in this club, in this city, in this community. That stuff's important, and we learned from that. So hopefully that makes us better next year, and I think it will. And we just have to see, but we can certainly get better.
Go ahead, Marco.
The way you guys got off to the quick start this year, was it disappointing to see the defense not improve and kind of progress as they did throughout?
Well, they did improve, but it's not good enough. When the beginning of the year is sloppy with everybody, so you don't know whether that's because teams are not functioning properly. Scoring goals is the hardest thing in the game. And the beginning of the year, teams don't score a lot of goals. It takes some time to get in sync, get the right coordination, get the right rhythm as teams, and then as you get into the second half of the season, teams are, going at full tilt, and that's when we didn't do well defensively in the second half of the season because teams are in sync then, and we scored fewer goals and conceded more. So you do the math, that doesn't add up to a lot of wins.
A couple more. Alyssa.
Before you started here at San Jose, you spoke a lot about your excitement around working with Christian Espinoza. I think you even called him a top 10 or 20 player in MLS at the time. Would love to hear some reflections on having a first year under your belt with him, what you saw from him.
Well, he's a good player. He comes out every day, and he reminds me a little bit of Carlos Heel, even though I'm not. They're certainly not similar players, but Carlos is the best player every day in New England, and it's contagious. Doesn't talk a whole lot, but just he lets his play do the talking, and Christian's like that, and he's had a solid year. He needs to be surrounded maybe with a few better players to help him, but he's been a pleasure to be around. He's very well liked by his teammates and the organization, in the community, and San Jose is lucky to have him.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
We're good, thank you.
Post-game press conference after tonight's 2-1 win over Austin FC. Niko Tsakiris scores first MLS goal. We'll start first with a question from Jeff Carlisle.
Niko, obviously a bittersweet night given the result, but also what happened elsewhere. But I was just wondering did you have to do a lot of convincing of your teammates to let you take that free kick in such a big moment?
Yeah, I mean, first off, listen, with the result and everything, obviously, like you said, bittersweet for the group, but, as an individual, happy to get my first goal. But yeah, I think in the moment, I think what happened in Chile definitely helped the situation. But yeah, Chris kind of was like, hey, yeah, go for it. And obviously it went our way, so yeah, excited and happy.
Paul.
Congratulations for your goal in minute 77. How would you remember this moment? Question 2. How do you feel to be part of the resiliency of this team, especially in tonight's game? Thank you so much, Niko.
Yeah, I think, the first part of your question, amazing. I don't think I'll ever forget it. I don't think you'll ever forget your first.
Celebration with Christian is been
Yeah, amazing. He's been incredible to me, ever since, one of my first days here. And, yeah, it was a special moment for sure. And then your second question, yeah, I think just the group really showed kind of who we are and who we've been. Obviously, we fell short of what we wanted, but I think you saw tonight, like, guys coming on, making a difference, and the guys who started and who came out, like, they put in a shift tonight to allow us to do our job. So I think it just showed, the group as a whole.
Go ahead, Robert.
And Niko, you were here before Bruce. He talked about his first year and the change that was made. He highlighted a lot of the positive change, points, wins, etc. You were here for that these previous years when things didn't go so well. How did you see the change, and how does this team build off of that to get ready for next year?
Yeah, I think, listen, we were obviously better than last year in terms of points and goals scored and things like this, but I think the biggest one was just kind of the character of the team. It's the biggest one, and yeah, it showed. I think we were in a better position than we were last year, and yeah, I think Bruce and the experience that he has definitely helped the group and the environment this year.
Mark with Kevin.
Niko, congratulations on your first goal. With the way you played down in Chile and then coming in here tonight and having the big moment that you did, you feel this is a stepping stone going into next year for you to make not only just a roster spot, but being that starting 11?
Yeah, I think, of course, it's a stepping stone. I think anytime you get your first, it's exciting, and with it being tonight and with it leading into next season, I think it can only be a positive. But listen, I think I still have to do my job, come in fit, come in sharp, and ready for next year.
Go ahead, Kevin.
And Niko, I know you had high aspirations coming into this year in terms of goal contributions, and then injuries and numbers go against you. Can you reflect on what it was like to get back into the team, and how big was that national team experience in helping you do so?
Sure. Yeah, I think it definitely was a learning year for me. I think, like you mentioned, with injuries and time on the field, obviously it wasn't as much as I would have liked, but I think it just taught me a lot to stay patient and be ready for my turn, and just making sure that I'm sharp whenever that opportunity comes. And I think the national team allowed me to kind of stay fit and in form. And then, yeah, obviously the tournament and then coming back here for today was just kind of a stepping stone for me and really important. So I think as a whole, just what I took away from it was just making sure that I'm sharp whenever an opportunity comes.
Ivan.
So there's been a lot of talk about the collective within the San Jose Earthquakes, defending and attacking as a group. How are you most looking forward to contributing to continuing this improvement for the club in 2026?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is, you just said, we want to continue to grow as a collective and as a group, and I think how we do that is just the environment that we create every day. So continuing to get better, continuing to just improve at the little things that help us get here, to help us get to a playoff spot. So I think, yeah, they're all important seasons and years and learning moments. So I think we'll take that into next season.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Niko.
Thank you.
Hi, this is the voice of the San Jose Earthquakes, Ted Ramey, for Bay Area Sports Wrap. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.